Welcome to the Exhibit Printing Studio. Today I'm going to be talking about the difference between water-based printing and solvent-based printing. So both of these technologies are both inkjet-based technologies. So you're taking a liquid ink and as a printhead passes across the material, nozzles fire out a certain amount of ink, and that will be a liquid that's carrying the pigment that goes to make the final image. But the liquid that's carrying the pigment can be different. When we're doing water-based or aqueous-based printing, that would be fine art printing, generally poster printing. In that case, there's water holding the pigment, and then as the print dries in natural air, you end up with just the pigment on the paper and seeping into the paper, depending on whether it's a coated material or an uncoated material, and that's how you end up with an image. Water-based is completely chemically neutral, so it's not chemically toxic, so that gives it some environmental credentials. On the other end of the spectrum, you have solvent-based printing. Solvent-based printing is a process of printing onto materials which a water-based ink wouldn't adhere to. So the solvent can print directly onto PVC-based products, typically be PVC banner materials or materials that we use for roll-up retractable banner stands and pop-up trade show stands. One of the main advantages of solvent-based ink is the aggressive chemistry can really work into an uncoated, untreated PVC material, which means that a banner material can be far cheaper per square metre than a nice poster paper that you might print on your water-based printer. Other advantages are because the carrier is solvent-based, not water-based, you end up with an exterior grade product. It will be completely waterproof, and even without lamination, which is often used still in order to increase the durability of the product, but even without lamination, that product can be used outside and it's going to last. So now I'm going to take you over to two separate machines and just show you how they work and typical materials we'll be printing on and typical end applications of those materials. So here we have our water-based printer, a Z3200 from HP. It's about to run out a poster onto some matte paper. It's great for presentations, often used for academics going to conferences or architects printing out their plans. Printing from both water-based and solvent-based large format printers usually happens from rolls. So as this print starts to come out, you realise that although we're printing an A1 print, it's not an A1 sheet that goes in. The roll is larger, we print the A1 onto it, and then there's a manual trimming process at the end. This allows the image to be printed full bleed, meaning the graphic goes all the way to the edge. Whereas if you put an A4 piece of paper into your home printer and then try and print an A4 print on it, you'll always have a print margin where the printer needed to handle the paper and also stop ink spilling over the edge and over time damaging the printer. With this process, printing onto a roll, trimming down afterwards, you avoid that, meaning you can have exactly what you want, you're not limited by the printer. So as you can see, the poster's starting to come out now. I've lifted up these lids in order to show you the amount of ink cartridges that go into producing a print. Although this design isn't particularly taxing for a printer of this quality, when you're printing giclée prints, so fine art prints, you want the widest colour gamut. You want to be able to achieve as many beautiful colours as possible that you may have captured in a photograph or you've created in a digital piece of artwork. However, with water-based printing, an important thing is the archival quality. It needs to last, and it can't last if, in order to achieve those bright colours, you've used an aggressive ink chemistry. Printers like this have so many ink cartridges because by pre-mixing the colours and being really delicate and nuanced with the colour mixing, they're able to achieve a broad colour space whilst remaining chemically neutral, which allows a fine art print to have a theoretical life span of 150 to 200 years on this printer. We're going to look at the solvent printer in a minute, and that is most definitely not true. A solvent printer is fantastic for getting bright colours, and you could apply it on a vinyl, maybe a piece of signage or a vehicle graphic, and it would last 10 years, which is arguably a great return on investment. However, with a vehicle graphic, you don't want it to last 150 years, so you don't have the same parameters you've got to work within. But that is another reason why water-based printing and solvent-based printing are different. So this post is just finishing up. It's going to cut off. As you can see, a white space over here, which wasn't utilised because the roll was slightly wider than A1. Then we're just going to trim it down, and the post will be ready for the student to collect. So this is our solvent printer. It's a Mamaki JV33. It's currently printing onto some retractable banner stand material. So this is going into a roller banner, common product for a lot of businesses. As you can see, the head is just moving left to right, slowly feeding out. And this printer prints roll to roll. So we have a roll loaded at the back, and then it's going down to take-up reel, where when the print job's finished, it's neatly rolled up. It means that we can do far larger print jobs on this. This kind of production equipment is designed to run 50 metres at a time, whereas a water-based printer tends to be for smaller print jobs, a series of A2s or A1s, although it can print past A0. One of the advantages of solvent printing is, although the equipment's more expensive, the ink costs tend to be slightly lower, and as a result, this machine's favoured for larger print areas and also budget products. Well, I hope that was enlightening. Obviously, the complexities of when to use aqueous, when to use solvent-based printing, is something that your print service provider should be able to steer you through. However, I hope you now have a slightly better understanding of the terminology and the factors that go into making that decision.